And then another big issue that's been coming up to kind of get a head start on it is you guys may remember about a year ago, a little more than a year ago, we instituted a new code for the bicycle issues and problems that have come to the village with the young people that are driving recklessly around Main Street and East Main Street. And I had helped institute that code where our code officers are now allowed to confiscate the minors' bicycles. They have to then be, their parents have to come down and retrieve the bikes. So that was one thing that we had implemented, but moving forward, we had a meeting with a bunch of the business owners in that location of where this usually occurs. We had a captain from Suffolk County Police Department there. We had our code chief there and our village attorney to kind of do a brainstorming session of how to get ahead of possibly the same problem, if not a bigger problem moving forward. So those are the things that I'm working on right now as we, look ahead to our big season.
Excellent. Well done there, Kath.
That's it, unless anybody has any questions.
Perfect. Any questions or comments from anybody? All right. Thank you very much, Kathy.
You're welcome.
I don't know if everyone noticed, I got an email last Thursday from Cindy about a webinar on February 3rd. I'm assuming because of COVID, we're not going to be doing any in-person training. So if you can attend that, great. If not, I'm sure Cindy's going to send us out some more. But I assume that we have to still keep our credits up to date. Is that correct, Cindy?
That is correct.
Okay. Excellent.
I'll continue to send the notifications as they come up.
All right. Excellent. And Jen, I got an email from you today with some recommendation letters from neighbors. Mm-hmm. One of them did not have an address on it. One of them was
right. And I saw that, and I believe the address is 335 or 3. Hold on, I wrote it down. It is someone very close. 337 Thompson.
So Joseph Longo. It looks like Joseph Longo is 337 Thompson. Okay. And I just want to confirm a couple things. I have 1, 2, 3 letters of recommendation, I believe.
And one email.
And one email, right.
The other one being Bruce Miller, I think, right? The email was Bruce?
Right.
That's right.
Okay, so I do have 4. Okay. So you have 4 letters all endorsing. Jen, real quick, 408 Thompson, the name is, or what's the last name on? I can't make out the last name on the signature. Do we know?
408. Let me have a look.
It looks like Gerard.
Yeah, Dell something.
I can look up the address in the system.
All right. Well, for the meeting,
and Amy may know once she's on too.
Okay. Did everyone get a chance to take a look at this? This is something we haven't seen a lot on this board, is a flag lot. Has everyone had a chance to go to the site or did at least look at the pictures that Jen provided?
Yep.
Okay. Looks like they have a 3-car garage. Is that right, Jen? I was there today. I was there yesterday and today again.
Right. That's actually the recording studio.
Okay.
So there is no garage.
Yeah, it had 3 garage door look like.
Right.
And I see Bruce Miller made a comment in his letter about placing the structure as far from neighboring properties as possible. So we'll read that into the record, and planning might have to, that's more of a planning issue than a zoning issue. But, And Jen, did everyone, do you know if Amy got a copy of your report?
She did.
She did. Okay, excellent. Why is everyone so quiet today? This is like unprecedented for our board.
We did all the talking before you came.
Oh, man. Do we get the update on Antonio and how much sleep he's not getting?
Can you tell? You can tell. All right.
How is everybody doing over there, Antonio?
Everybody's great. And yeah, he's sleeping pretty good, my son. So it's me. I'm not. I'm just trying to work hard now to keep him happy. So
you'll be doing that for the next 100 years.
Oh, I'm sure. Thank you.
Okay, so I looked up 408 Thompson Street and I have the gentleman's full name. It's Gerard Delegati.
Can you
So
spell that
we'll
last name? Or you know what I mean?
Delligatti. And then
Okay.
first name Gerard.
I just want to be able to say it for the
Yep.
meeting. And the other one is Daniel Eckert, and I'm assuming the other signature is whoever that is, wife or partner or whoever, or his signature. Maybe that's his signature. He hand wrote it and then signed it underneath. It looks like.
Yeah,
For
that's
Daniel.
what it looks like.
Yes.
The D and
Okay.
an L. Yeah.
Mhm.
All right, excellent. Jen, a couple of questions for you. I ended up with, I thought, 3 surveys. Which is the most recent survey? I have
It's dated the 25th
the 20,
and
received January 25th. Is that the one
Mhm.
stamped?
Yep.
Okay. So that's the one we should be using?
yes.
Okay. Jen, you want to give us a little bit of an overview on what's going on? If you already did this, I apologize. I
No.
was late.
No,
So-
no, I haven't. Right. So, and hopefully the surveys that you got show the driveways sort of clearly delineated. That was sort of a problem when the planning board first looked at it. Did everyone get a chance to drive by the property? Are people familiar with this house? It's sort of a dark brown, large rambling house. There is an accessory use incidental to the single family residence. It's a professional recording studio. The owner has been required to, it's a conditional use per the planning board. The owner just actually recently renewed that conditional use. Part of one of the provisions is that he provide 5 parking spaces for clients that use the studio. And with this proposed subdivision, those 5 parking spaces are now going to be shifted further to the rear, which is something that had been discussed in the past anyway, as a way to sort of get the cars out of view from the neighbor across the street primarily, and to make it less sort of congested along the existing driveway. So currently, this property, it's one of the larger properties in the RB2, in this area of the RB2 at it's just about 1.7 acres. There have been several applications in the past that haven't gotten much farther than the sketch plan phase with the planning board. One actually showed a 4-lot subdivision. There were many 3-lot subdivisions, and now this is the sort of the least intensive modification to the lot, 2-lot. In terms of access, the proposed new driveway to the rear lot 2 has the required it's 5 feet off the property line to the east, which is the minimum setback for a driveway. The driveway paved width is 10 feet. It's flanked then by another planting strip on the west side. The fire department has taken a look at this, has no problems in terms of access to the rear. It's a long drive, but it's straight. The site is relatively flat. The proposed lot 2 in the rear is set back. I don't know if it's, I don't know if you can tell. I tried to capture it in the photographs. There's a berm. It's how its existence came into being, I'm not sure. It may have been fill from the numerous additions to the existing structure over time, or digging out the pool. But the applicant is proposing to site the house just on the south side of this sort of natural berm. The area where the house is proposed is also is relatively flat, almost treeless. If there was an understory, it's been completely devoured by the deer over time. So in terms of relief that you're looking at, the action actually confers non-compliance on the existing lot. I think the proposed lot will be well above the minimum square footage for lots, lot size, lot area in the RB2. The applicant is proposing to leave just about half of the lot undeveloped, in its natural state. That complies with tree clearing and grading standards. Let's see.
Jen, just a quick question for you.
Yeah, absolutely.
On the first thing is the 34.48 feet where 40 is required. That's the combined side yard setbacks? That's on the existing house or on the proposed new
That's
house?
on the existing house. So if you'll look at the existing house, they have a legally non-complying side yard on the west side of the house. And so once you remove the 20 feet for the access to the rear lot on the east side, you create another degree of non-compliance, which is the combined side yard setback, which is 40 feet. By losing that 20, you no longer have that.
And
So-
give me that number. When losing the 20 feet,
Right.
what are the two side yard setbacks?
So that
necessarily
I
look
know
to
it's very
determine.
small. So you're left with 19.17 on the east. And on the west side, the existing non-complying side yard setback, hold on, maybe this cut, it's 15.31, I think. I think it's in my, yep.
And Jen, I don't know if Lisa or you are doing this, but during the meeting, I'm going to ask that we put this survey up with those numbers on there, just so that it's clear, because that survey is so small, it's hard to.
It's
See
very
what-
hard. And in fact,
Andrew's adding the writing on top of it.
Oh, all
I
right,
saw
whoever-
that. I wondered who did that.
I don't know how he even does it.
Well, whoever did it, if you could do that during the meeting, that would be greatly appreciated. And then the other question I had for you, Jen, was
Mhm.
the 20-foot setback, street frontage is for that new driveway, right?
That's correct, right.
Okay.
And a concern the planning board had. So right now, the existing driveway is sort of semicircular. I think it's primarily used. I think they even use the east side of the drive. So at the very front, so where you see the dimension for the northern property line, 119.49, there's sort of a semicircular. Thank you, Andrew. Yep, right there. That's a raised planting area. And the difficulty that I think everyone had was visualizing how to make if there are two lots created, how to differentiate the two ingresses so that one person isn't driving. It gets a little messy and introduces potential problems if you're sharing, a large common entrance to both properties. So this proposal shows for the front lot, lot 1, the existing house will use the entrance to the west, the existing curb cut and entrance to the west. 2 parking spaces will be created just beyond that. You can see that. that allows the owner to park there. He's got room to back out and leave from, where he came in, and leave the east side of the property for the creation of the second driveway.
Just to note, it is 7:32 right now, so if
Oh.
we want to
Sorry.
open.
Jen, one last question. That driveway that you're showing there is a new driveway. That's not the existing driveway.
The
That would be a created
exist-
driveway.
Which one?
The
Where
one
the
with
arrow is?
Yep.
That entrance exists. That curb cut exists.
Okay.
But it follows that sort of semicircular front raised
yep.
planting bed around. That
Mhm.
will be. Thank you, Andrew. God, this is incredibly useful. So that will be cut off, and the new driveway for the rear lot will be created on the far east side of the parcel. And we think that that's visually, it will be clear that driveway does not belong to the main house.
And that's strictly just so it can be dedicated to that rear piece of property they're creating, right?
Right, and it prevents property owners from, it prevents the requirement for easement agreements and and potential future conflict. You can have people accidentally parking and blocking access to the rear lot. It's just, I think it's, from a planning perspective, a much better approach to have very distinct independent drives.
Okay. Any comments or questions for Jen?
No, I was just gonna clarify, Jen. So there's not an additional, unless I miss it, there's not an additional curb cut on Thompson to access the proposed driveway for the flag lot. You would go through this initial lot?
That curb cut exists now, sort of. It's very messy. It's not, super clean and distinct. And in fact, the road right of way looks, if you're at the site, it almost looks like it's part of the site. That's not the, no, that's not it. That's there. So
There's no real
everything
curbing
just
there.
sort of bleeds into the street, and it's not clear where the property line begins and where the road. Yes. So
Right.
you can see the gravel beyond the asphalt is actually that's not where the property starts at all. It starts considerably back. So closer to that that looks like a railroad tie, right. Planting area to the left. Yeah.
So is this group of trees here, is that going to be removed for the new driveway? Is that what I'm understanding?
No, not at all. There will, on the east side of the parcel, a 5-foot planting strip will stay.
Okay.
And they're mostly Norway maples. Some are large. I think that there's one or two, you can actually see the tree that's dead. There's a few trees that are dead that will probably be removed. But other than that, I think the intention is to keep all of the trees that are there.
And they're going to define the driveway on the existing house side with some type of, it looks like some plantings, whether arborvitae.
That's a privet hedge. Yep,
Okay.
And they are proposing irrigation so that it thrives, because it's shady, dry. It's not the most ideal condition, and there are a lot of Norway maples, so it's
One last quick
conditions aren't ideal. Yeah.
Just
One
to
last
note,
quick
it's
question before we
7:35.
start the meeting. The variance for the combined side yard is for the existing house lot to remain lot 1, and then the variance for the street frontage minimum, that's like a 75% variance, is for the new flag lot, right?
Correct.
Okay, thank you. I'm good to start whenever. We can keep chatting after.
Lou, did you have a last comment? You started a comment, I cut you off.
No.
All right, Lisa, let's take us into the meeting.
Okay, it's live on both YouTube and Zoom, so you can open the meeting.
Oh, Lorraine, are you? Okay, thank you.
All right, we're good. Stenographer's good? Okay, welcome to
she's good.
the January 26, 2021 ZBA meeting for the Village of Port Jefferson. This evening, we have one item on the agenda. Lisa, why don't we let Amy into the meeting? So that before I read the, Amy, you with us?
Yes, I am.
All right. Good. I'm going to open the public hearing and read the description to the record. Tonight we have one item on the agenda. It's 410 Thompson Street. It's appeal number 560-21, Suffolk County Tax Map number Section 9, Block 6, Lot 32. It's in the RB2 Residential District. The property owner is Michael Watts. The applicant is Michael Watts. The representative in contact is Amy DeVito, care of Woodhull Expediting. We have 2 area variances are required to approve this application for this proposed 2-lot minor subdivision. The applicant requests, number 1, a combined side yard setback of 34.48 feet where 40 feet is required per section 250, attachment 3 of the Port Jefferson Village Code. And number 2 is street frontage of 20 feet where 100 feet is required per section 250, attachment 3 of the Port Jefferson Village Code. We have Amy DeVito here. Amy, can you get sworn in, please? Can the stenographer swear her in, please?
Ms. DeVito, would you raise your right hand, please? Do you swear that the testimony you're about to give is the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Amy, I'm going to open up the meeting to you. I just want to clarify a couple of things with you. You got a copy of the staff report, correct?
Yes, I did.
Okay, and you also got a copy of all the correspondence that was, whether it came from you, you have copies of all the correspondence?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Amy, the floor is yours. Go ahead.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman and members of the board. Amy DeVito, Woodhull Expediting with offices at 1031 Main Street, Port Jefferson, New York, 11777. So I just want to start out by stating that I did read Jennifer's report. It was extremely detailed, and I think a lot of the points that I planned on making are really contained in this report, but I will summarize and then add a couple of things. So the lot size as a whole, as one lot, is 1.7 acres, which is a very large lot for this area. The minimum lot size required in RB2 is 15,000 square feet. We are proposing 2 lots. Lot 1, which is the lot with the existing home, will be 31,222 square feet. Lot 2, which would be the proposed lot, would be 43,490 square feet. So a true acre. We are also proposing to keep 50% of the rear lot undisturbed, or lot 2 undisturbed. This equates to about a 150-foot buffer at its deepest points. Moreover, we are in groundwater management zone 8 under Suffolk County Health Department regulations, where 20,000 square feet are required. So we will not have an issue with maintaining the new lot size for lot 1, or creating a second lot of the 43,000 square feet for lot 2 under Suffolk County Health Department standards. So if you look at an aerial of this particular neighborhood, you'll see that this is definitely one of the larger, if not the largest lot in the neighborhood. You'll also notice that there are many flag lots in the surrounding area. So there's actually 9 flag lots total in the area. All of those are within half-a-mile radius of the subject lot, and 3 of them are actually contiguous to the lot. I also want to add that I did, in my testimony to when I submitted to Cindy, I sent over a aerial and a street view of each of these properties that I'm referring to, the 9 flag lots, just in case the board is interested in knowing where those are located. I could read off those addresses if the board wishes. I do have them here.
I can show the aerial tax map if you like.
Okay, perfect.
Where you highlighted them, I believe.
Yes.
And Cindy, you're going to confirm that you received those pictures from Amy?
Yes, I did.
Okay, so can you put them in the record as Exhibit 1?
Sure.
Okay, so if you take a look at the map that's up on the screen, you'll see that we've highlighted each flag lot that I'm referring to. I think a couple of them are actually out of the view, but there is 9 of them, all of similar size. Our proposal is actually larger than some of them as well. Okay.
Amy, could you give us the address of the 3 that are touching your property, the property in question?
Yes, I have terrible lighting in this room, so just give me 1 second.
Sure.
Okay, so we have 414 Thompson Street with the flag lot of 416 Thompson Street.
Is that east side? I'm sorry, I don't mean to be a pain. Could you just, is that the east side of the lot, the left, or just so that anyone watching it?
That is the east side of the lot.
Thank you.
Okay, then we have 105 Scraggy Hill, 107A Scraggy Hill, and then 109 Scraggy Hill Road, and 107 Scraggy Hill Road. Those are all southwest of the lot, or west and south.
Amy, are those bigger or smaller or same size? Just, I mean, obviously one of them is smaller, but the 3 that are touching, are they roughly about the same size as the lot you're discussing?
Yes, actually 414 Thompson and 416 Thompson are near identical. We might be actually slightly bigger.
Okay.
I can actually tell you exactly, just give me 1 second. 414 Thompson is 0.6 acres. 416 Thompson is 0.8 acres. 0.88. And the other 6 lots vary in size around the half-mile radius, but all very similar, if not the same, as 410 Thompson Street, the subject premises. Okay,
And Amy, it looks like the lot that you're discussing and the one we're going to create, the flag lot we're going to create, is similar to the ones on the tax map with a right-of-way leading to the flag lot, which hence the name flag lot comes from.
That's correct. And actually, I want to correct myself because I think I am reading one of these wrong. Hold on. That is, yeah, so the three lots that touch are 414 Thompson, 416 Thompson, and 109 Scraggy Hill Road, just to clarify.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, so we're proposing to build approximately a 24 square foot colonial home on the property. The way that the surveyor depicts the home on the property is more or less where we would like for it to situate. The reason being is because we want to keep it far enough away from the buffer that the new home can enjoy a backyard, and obviously set back enough from each side yard. So this is kind of just situated right in the center so that it's not interfering with any of the neighboring properties, but all the while leaving an area for front yard and rear yard for the new home to enjoy.
Amy, just hold on 1 sec. I'm sorry, hold on 1 sec. Lisa, can you put that survey up on the, as Amy's talking about it?
Yes, I'll pull it up.
I apologize, Amy, please continue.
No, it's okay. It's fine. I understand. We're all trying to make this work in the days of COVID. So yeah, so if you take a look, you'll see that we've situated more or less in the center of the what will be the cleared area of the lot, or the most cleared area of the lot. And this is also the area of the lot that is mostly naturally cleared at this time. So it made sense to situate the house in that particular location. So we are requesting 2 variances today. One of the variances is for a total side yard for the existing home. This is, as per Jennifer's memo, this is a 13% variance request. In my opinion, it's a de minimis request, not out of character for the neighborhood. And even with the different lot sizes and configurations of lots. And obviously this is being created because of the loss of the square footage that will occupy the flag to get to the rear lot. The other variance we're requesting is lot frontage. Under village code, the frontage is considered where you enter the property. In this case, or not where you enter the property, but the width of the property at the front of the street. In this case, it's only now going to be a 20-foot opening. Whereas when you actually get up to the property where the house is, it's much wider. This is obviously necessary to create the access to the lot so that the second lot occupants could reach their home. I would say that this is not out of character for the neighborhood, as there are other flag lots in the neighborhood, as previously pointed out, 9 to be exact. It's not precedent setting because this precedent has already been set due to the other flag lots in the neighborhood. And moreover, there are not any lots this size left in this immediate area to even propose this type of configuration or subdivision. So in my opinion, it would not be a detriment to the neighborhood. Clearly not an environmental issue, as we are well within our as of right square footage to build the home under Suffolk County Health Department standards to have an adequate septic system on the property. And I just want to make sure I'm covering everything that I wanted to add before I see if you guys have any questions. And I think that, oh, the only other thing is we did have some comments from the planning board when I went before them, not in public hearing, but in work session. I could, if you want, Mr. Chairman, I could read off just what their suggestions were and just let you know where we're at with their suggestions.
Yes, please.
Okay, so this was I was notified of these recommendations from Jennifer Sigler on December 29th via email. So the first item is the driveways, ingress and egress, and the 5-foot setbacks from the property lines for the respective driveways for both lots need to be more clearly defined on the survey. So there's a lot going on this survey, and without making it really, really large, they tried to keep it, at a paper size that would be kind of easy to work with. So it was a little bit unclear in the first round of surveys. I'm hoping that this one is more clear for everybody. The second item was that the 5 parking spaces required for the existing conditional use, the professional recording studio, be clearly delineated on the sketch plan. In a prior conditional use renewal hearing, the planning board has suggested that the spaces be moved farther to the rear of the lot to lessen the studio's user impact on the adjacent residential lots. If you look at the survey, you'll see that the spots have been reconfigured, proposed to be moved further back to the property. I really wish I could point to this, but if you just move your eyes, perfect, right where the arrow is. So the spaces would be relocated in that area. So kind of tucked alongside of the flag driveway and accessible from the driveway that will now be created along the side of the home or studio so that the customers can reach it. The third item was assurances from the Port Jeff Fire Department and Emergency Services that the paved driveway width for Lot 2, the rear lot, is adequate to properly access the lot. We did reach out to the Port Jeff Fire Department, and they did give us a letter stating that the access was adequate and that it would not create any issues for emergency service. I believe that the village has a copy of this letter. I did not submit.
Yes, we do.
Okay, good. And then the fourth item was provide letters of availability from utilities and the Suffolk County Department of Health Services for approval of a 2-lot subdivision. We have not applied to Suffolk County Health Department yet. We are waiting to get a little bit more confirmation from the village that we'll be proceeding with the subdivision under village code or village jurisdiction so that we can then proceed with health department. I have requested a letter of availability from Suffolk County Water Authority, and I don't anticipate that being an issue as there is public water up to the house now. And I am happy to answer any questions the board. Oh, I'm sorry. I have one more thing. We did get letters of support. I heard you guys discussing this sooner. I just wanted to clarify who these letters were from. So we have one letter from Joseph Longo. Joseph Longo. He resides at he resides at 337 Thompson Street. So that's Joseph Longo. And in his letter, he states that he fully supports the application for the proposed 2-lot subdivision. So 337 Thompson Street is, just give me one moment. 337 Thompson Street is across the street from the subject premises, and it is really directly across the street, but he is the northwestern neighbor. Okay. And then we have a letter of support from Dan Eckert at 335 Thompson Street, which is just west of 337. So it's across the street, so to the northwest of the subject premises. Then we have, let's see, this is Gerard Delegati, who resides at 408 Thompson Street, also stating that he supports the proposed 2-lot subdivision. And 408 Thompson Street is the adjacent neighbor, the contiguous neighbor to the west of 410 Thompson Street. And then lastly, we did receive an email from Bruce Miller. He resides at 109 Scraggy Hill Road. So that is actually the flag lot that is behind the lot. So it's to the south of the lot. That's 109 Scraggy Hill Road. Also stating that he supports the application. And I think I heard you guys talking about this in your pre-meeting session, that he was just asking that the house be placed as far from the neighboring properties as possible. In his case, there will actually be a 150-foot at its deepest point buffer to his property. So he will the house will remain completely unseen from his point of view. And that will conclude my presentation. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Okay, just a couple of quick housekeeping issues. Cindy, we're going to make the tax map part of Exhibit 1 that goes with the pictures.
Okay.
All right, we're going to make the correspondence Exhibit 2. We have additional correspondence from the Port Jefferson Fire Department, as Amy mentioned, saying that they've reviewed the plan for a 10-foot flag lot driveway at 410 Thompson, and they have no objections to the access for the property. Could we add that to the correspondence for Exhibit 2, please?
Okay.
Okay, and just for anyone listening, I want to just make it clear, there are 2 variances here. One is for the existing house, one is for the proposed lot. So there's 2 different variances for each of the proposed, one for an existing, one for a proposed. Does the board have any questions for Mr. Vito?
Mark, I have one, if that's all right.
Go ahead, please.
Hey, Amy, how are you?
Hello, how are you?
I'm doing well, thank you. I noticed on the site plan that on Lot 2, if approved, it says 50% of the lot would remain undisturbed. Do you have any inclination if the applicant would be willing to work with the planning board, if the planning board deemed that to be appropriate, to keep that in perpetuity by adding a covenant?
Yes, we actually spoke to the planning board about that in work session, and we are prepared to offer that as a covenant. No further subdivision of plots. And then also the existing or the proposed buffer to, well, I guess it's really existing, the existing buffer to remain.
Okay.
We have Jen Sigler here. Jen, can you confirm or deny that, please?
I can. In fact, I was going to bring that up. Yes, the planning board did bring up the fact that they would like to have no further subdivision covenanted, and the applicant agreed at the planning board meeting.
Thanks, appreciate it.
I'm sorry, I do have one question. It's either an Amy or Jen question. The location of the existing the location of the proposed driveway, who determined where that was? Was that the recommendation of the planning board, or was that the applicant proposing it to the planning board and the planning board?
It's really the only place it can go.
Okay.
Yeah, and Mr. Chairman, we did originally submit the application with the driveway proposed as it was, and with comments from the planning board. One of their comments was to add the privet hedge down the center of what would be, or I shouldn't say the center, along the west side of the flag driveway to create, like Jennifer was saying before, a delineation between the two access points so that there wasn't any issues with future end users of, the home and the proposed house. But yes, this really is the only access point. There's virtually no other way to access that back lot.
Okay, excellent.
And I'm so sorry, Mr. Chairman. I just wanted to add one thing because you were talking about it earlier. All the curb cuts exist right now. We are not proposing any further curb cuts. If anything, we're going to be using a concrete apron, asphalt, and cleaning up the curb cut as it exists right now. So there's actually the half, I guess I'll call it a horseshoe driveway. The current homeowner will be using the driveway access point that is to the west of the property on the west side. And then the second lot number 2, if approved, would then use the easterly access point, the flag that we're creating, but the existing curb cut as it is today, other than it being, cleaned up and modified.
Right, so your client's going to clearly delineate driveway 1 versus driveway 2,
That's
or
correct.
lot 1, lot 2. And Amy, just confirm, I think you said it earlier, the house prior to this request met the combined yard setback, and because of this request, now the house does not meet the combined yard setback. Am I correct?
That's correct. That is correct. It has a non-conforming side yard setback on the west side of the property, which was, I'm assuming, approved via another zoning board hearing or perhaps prior to code. I'm not sure. I wasn't involved in that. But yes, we did at one point, or today, we currently meet the side yard setback on the east side. That will change due to the fact that the property line is now going to start 20 feet in because we are creating the flag.
And Jen, we spoke earlier about the applicant just came in and renewed the, I want to say, special condition permit or covenant for this property.
The conditional use for the recording studio? Mm-hmm.
Yes, you could just, so if you could just, for the record, just, confirm that they came in and they met all the requirements, which now brings the parking spots up to 5 in the location. Is that correct?
Right.
All right.
That is correct.
And for the record, the property is in compliance at this time, no violations against the property at all permits and COs in place.
Okay, excellent. And Amy, I was at the site yesterday and today. The second lot number 2, will start roughly just behind where the existing berm is that you can see from the street?
That's correct.
Okay.
Yes, it starts let me just give me 1 second. I'm actually going to scale this for you. So from the it's hard to tell on the survey, but from about the edge of pavement, which is not actually their property line, but from the edge of pavement to the point where the lot will actually open up to where you would enter for, access to the house. So I'm talking like, back, where you would actually see the house. That's about 200 feet from the street, from the actual pavement. I'm really sorry, my cuckoo clock is going off.
And I'm sorry, Amy, how long is the proposed right-of-way driveway that you're going to put in from the street to, roughly where it comes to the property line?
All right, well, if from where the property line is, the length of the driveway to the front, the rear property line of the existing lot, that is 185 feet, approximately. Okay. It varies because the lot curves.
And by the way, for the record, the last meeting, your cuckoo clock went off too, so.
I know, it's, I think the clock is, here to support me.
Does anybody else have any questions for Amy?
Yeah, I was just wondering if you could, because this is a very rambling house and like crowded looking on the property. Are you going to be able to see the house from the street behind it, or is it going to be kind of hidden by the current house, or is it going to look?
Yeah, it's going to be, hi Tracy. It's going to be obscured. It's going to be obscured by the existing house. And it is maintaining a 46-foot setback from the easterly property line and a 50-foot setback from the westerly property line. So even though on paper it kind of looks like it's a little tight, in actuality it's not. It does maintain quite a heavy setback on both sides, and well within the RB2 requirements. But yes, it will be obscured by the existing house and set back over 200 feet. So it's going to be quite far back from the actual street.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions or comments from the board? Seeing none here. Jen, do you have any other thing you want to add from a staff point of view?
I don't think so. Mm-mm.
Okay. Lisa, do we have anyone from the public that would like to speak?
We do have members of the public, and they can click the raise hand icon when they want to speak. So I have one person who is raising their hand. If you're ready to take public comment, I'll bring them in.
Sure, if you can bring them in, please. Hello, sir. How are you? Can you hear us?
I'm fine. How are you?
Good. Before you speak, I'm going to ask the stenographer to swear you in, please.
Okay.
If you could raise your right hand while she swears you in.
Raise your right hand, John. John?
It's raised.
What?
It's raised.
I raised it.
Oh, okay, sorry. Okay. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth to help you God?
Yes.
And sir, if you could just state your name and address for the record.
John Coline, 341 Thompson Street.
Whenever you're ready, sir.
Okay. With regards to the driveways going in, the existing driveway where on the west side, will that be the driveway for all traffic to the studio with the 5 spaces in the back?
I believe so, sir, but Jen, I'm just going to confirm that with you. The driveway to the west will be the driveway used by the existing house and the music studio. Is that correct?
That's correct.
So then where the raised bed out near the road, just to the east of that, will there be any curb put in or something so there can be no exit out that way? It's like squeezing through, it's a small space they'd be squeezing through. And possibly could there be, maybe with that, some planting? I was never opposed to seeing vehicles. What I was opposed to was the headlamps at night from all the vehicles going out, shining into my house. So that could be a start, because it's going to be closed up. If there could be any plantings put up there that would act as a buffer, to hide the lights from the headlamps of the vehicles.
Jen, did you get all that?
I did.
Chairman, I did. If I could answer.
Just hold on one second, Amy. Jen, do we have any plantings proposed in that area where the raised bed is, or to the east of the raised bed?
We haven't discussed this with the planning board yet, but it's a good idea, and would further separate the proposed drive from the existing one. And I suspect that will be discussed in the planning board meetings.
All right, Amy, would you like to comment on this?
Yes, please. I was just going to suggest, I think it would be most prudent to alleviate the issue that Mr. Coline is stating. If we actually propose maybe a curb to actually close off that area completely, and we could do more plantings. The only issue is I wouldn't want to put the plantings too close to the pavement, obviously we are only dealing with our property, but too close to the pavement, because I don't want to create an obstruction for traffic trying to enter and exit the driveway on the east side that will be going to the second lot. So I think that a nice curb in that area and asphalt to close off that driveway, that particular part of the curb cut would be ideal, and then plantings up to the point where it's actually safe.
Mr. Cohen, you heard all that, correct?
Yeah, correct. I heard it. If something could be worked out with it, that would be good.
Mr. Cohen, Jen Sigler's on the meeting tonight, so she'll bring that back. She'll bring that back to the planning board. That's actually not the purview of the zoning board. I would also recommend that when you are notified about the planning board hearing, that again you attend the meeting like you did tonight and express your concerns. Hopefully by then they will have they have some more details for you. But Jen will definitely bring your concerns back to the planning board for their comment and review. But that is a good idea, and I definitely can see your point about the headlights and your property. Mr. Cohen, did you have any other questions or comments?
No.
Thank you, sir. Lisa, is there anyone else in the audience that would like to speak?
Lisa, Michael Watts might be in the audience, the homeowner. He's just spectating.
Lisa, are you muted? Because I can't hear you.
Oh, sorry. Yes,
There you
I will
go.
bring in, just give me 1 second to shuffle the participants.
So you did have someone? I'm sorry, we didn't know you were on mute. Did you have someone else that wants to speak?
Yes, I do have 2 people to speak. I'm just going to shuffle the participants here. Just 1 second.
When you're ready.
Okay. Okay, so. It's blocking my. So we should have. Let's see, I just promoted, I believe it's John to panelist, John Z. You had your hand raised. Do you have something you are on mute right now. So if you could unmute, we can take any comments that you have.
Can you hear me?
Mr. Cohen, can you mute yourself, please?
I'm going to move.
I did just hear him ask. He was quiet, but he did ask if we could hear him.
Okay.
Okay.
So,
Did you have John Z spell his last name?
We're getting there. Hold on 1 sec.
Okay.
Wait, hold on. Let me try again. All right. John Z, if you are here, please state your name for the record.
John Zukowski, Z-U-K-O-W-S-K-I.
And can you please state your address, please, for the record?
Yeah, I am counsel to the owners of 414 Thompson Street.
Okay, and you are an attorney?
I am.
Okay, so you don't require being sworn in. Go ahead, sir.
Yeah, I just want to raise one concern is that 414 Thompson Street, which is located immediately to the east of the subject parcel, is living with the business end of this parcel as it is now as a recording studio, and will continue to live with the business side of this parcel as a new property is developed. All of the traffic goes directly behind their fence line. Despite all of the buffers that are in place, this new driveway will only be located 5 feet from their property line as it is now. So not only do they get the traffic from the existing house, which is a minimum of 2 vehicles, they get the 5 vehicles to the recording studio, plus you are proposing to add the vehicles to the new parcel as well, all of which will pass across their westerly property line. I think that a consideration of this relaxation, that you're starting to shoehorn a little too much into the property than it warrants. It is a big lot, but it already is carrying a large single-family home together with a conditional use for a recording studio, which requires by your planning board 5-vehicle parking. So the recording studio is busy. That's why they required the 5 parking lots there, parking spaces, I'm sorry. And now we're looking to put in a 200-foot driveway with additional traffic, all of which will travel immediately behind the residence at 414.
Can you tell us, do you know how far, it looks like we're looking at the aerial map. Can you tell us how far your client's house is off the existing property line, if you know?
I don't know. It's relatively close. I've been to the property. I would be guessing if it's 25 feet.
Okay.
It's a very small backyard.
It does appear so.
May we see the proposed site plan again, please?
Sure. One second. Let's see. Can you see that?
Yep.
Where is the existing 5-car parking relative to the new proposed?
The spaces that were shown on the approved site plan are actually head-in spots. They head into what is shown as the 3-car garage, which is the studio. So there's 3 spaces there and then 2 parallel spots. So this plan will actually move them all further south and further away from the existing house to the east.
That's what I thought. Thank you for confirming. And based upon if we understand the existing driveway that currently feeds these spaces is overlaps some of the space for the proposed flag lot driveway, is that correct?
It is exactly where the existing driveway is wider, and less well-defined, but it is currently 5 feet off the property line as well. Okay. And there's a stockade fence that runs along the property line on the east side as well. I think that can be seen in, Lisa, perhaps the photographs in the staff report. Let's see, it would be, yeah, it's actually the first photograph on page 3. Yep. So that's the stockade fence to the left. So that's at the back end of the lot. And if you go to page 5, you can see sort of the entrance to the property and the existing 5-foot setback from the stockade fence and the existing house.
So essentially in that location, what's being proposed would be to cleave off a portion of this as access for the single family resident in the back and to create a buffer zone of privet and a new driveway that would be the predominant traffic for the business that would be separated further from the adjacent lot and separated by a hedge as well.
Correct.
Compared to the current situation, and then parking further back.
Correct.
Okay. I'm just curious because it's interesting to hear what sounds as like an objection from the representation for the residents of this house. Is that correct?
That would be correct.
Okay. So I understand yeah, go ahead.
They've done a tremendous job of buffering the existing house from the new driveway with their privet hedge. And I understand for the safety reasons, But the existing house is going to get a better buffer than my clients will at 414. As you can see in that photograph, there's a handful of large trees, and that's it.
Understood. Although it will only be the people accessing parcel 2 who will be using the lot with the driveway, which is adjacent to your property afterwards. So I understand yeah, go ahead.
But the present traffic to the recording studio will be immediately adjacent to that driveway.
Right. Okay.
It's not going away.
Sir, is your client looking for some additional landscaping, buffering? What is there something that your client is looking for, or is there a comment? I mean, are they looking for additional screening? Is that what they're
looking for the property to remain as it is?
Okay. Thank you. Do you have any other questions or comments from the board?
I would like to comment, if I may, Mr. Chairman, before we close.
Amy, hold up 1 second, please.
Sure.
I think that the homeowner might want to actually comment as well. His hand's up too. So if
just hold on, Lisa, 1 second. Sir, is there any other comments that you have regarding this application?
I do not.
Okay. Then we're going to release him, Lisa. And Amy, you had a comment. I'm going to ask you to address it to the board and not to the audience member.
Sure, Mr. Chairman. So I just wanted to make some comments on Mr. Zukowski's concerns. And I think that really the board and Jennifer pointed out what I was really going to make a point of. The driveway that will be accessing the studio in the existing house will in fact now be further away and buffered by privet hedge in between. Although this privet hedge isn't necessarily right against the property line, it is still going to act as a buffer for the neighboring property. More to the point, I'm under the impression that the house next door is actually being rented at 414 Thompson Street. I don't know much history about it, but the homeowner, Mr. Watts, and the tenants of 414 Thompson Street are apparently very friendly with one another in a neighborly way. And in speaking with them about this proposal, they had no concerns. I understand that they are not in fact the owners, but they are the current tenants of the property, and there has been no complaints back and forth between them as far as any noise or noise pollution, cars, light pollution, or anything like that. But we are willing to, if it would satisfy the board and the neighboring property, we are absolutely willing to make sure that the fence that divides the property is in good repair. And obviously to code as far as height, but we could, bring it up to 6 feet at the point of where it's permissible, if it's not already there. And we would also be willing to plant additional plantings along that property line if it works within the natural trees that are already there. We want to be in harmony with the neighborhood. I think that this proposal is within harmony of the neighborhood, as we've clearly shown that it is not out of character for the neighborhood. And we want to make sure the neighbors are happy. So we're willing to do what we have to do within reason to make sure that we're accommodating the neighbors and making sure that everybody has privacy and good quality of life.
Just for the record, Amy, so that I believe the gentleman who spoke from the audience, the attorney, was representing the homeowner, and you said you spoke to the people who are currently renting. So although there may be harmony there, he was just representing his clients.
Yes, understood.
So that being said, Lisa, do you have someone else in the audience that would like to speak?
Yes, the homeowner. I will bring him in.
Okay. Mr. Watts, you're currently muted. If you can unmute, and then I'll swear you in or have you sworn in. Mr. Watts, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Can you hear me?
Yes. Mr. Watts, I'm going to ask you to raise your right hand. The stenographer is going to swear you in.
Is the testimony you're about to give the whole truth and nothing but the truth to help you God?
Yes.
Mr. Watts, can you state your full name for the record and your address, please?
Michael Watts, 410 Thompson Street.
Please proceed.
Thanks, everybody, for coming and hearing this. It's obviously a large property and a lot going on, a lot of moving parts. Everything I want to do is just to comply. I think John's, who lives across the street from me, has a very valid point with the lights coming in. And I do think the idea of creating that curb with some planters in front so he never sees anybody coming or going would really be helpful and ease a lot of tension there. That's all I have to say, really. I think that's a great idea, actually.
Okay, and just for the record, Mr. Watts is the property owner of the application in question. And as we said, it sounds like your representative seemed to be amenable to that. You are as well. That's really more of a planning board decision in this case, but Jen will bring it back to the board, and I'm sure they'll incorporate those comments into the record. Mr. Watts, did you have any other comments you'd like to make?
Nope, that's it.
Does the board have any questions or comments for Mr. Watts? Seeing none, hearing none. Thank you, Mr. Watts, for coming out tonight.
Thanks for seeing us. Appreciate it.
Lisa, is there anyone else in the audience that would like to be heard?
Let me check. No, at this moment, no, we have heard from everyone who's in the audience.
Are there any other questions or comments from the board on this application? All right, Amy, you have any other comments or questions, or?
That
we're
would
good?
conclude everything for me. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. That being said, I'm going to ask for a motion to be made to close this hearing. I'll make the motion to close the hearing. Can I have a second on that, please?
I'll second.
Second, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Seeing none, hearing none. Thank you, everyone, for coming out. And what you guys want to discuss this for the record? So what's everybody's comments and thoughts on this?
Mark, is this on the record?
No, the public hearing is closed.
All right, so can I leave?
You are welcome to leave, yes.
Okay, good.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lorraine.
All right, so questions or comments or thoughts on this application? I thought it was interesting that the property owner's attorney came out.
Yeah.
Jen, did you hear any? Jen didn't.
Yeah, I'm here.
Have you heard anything from this property owner?
I haven't. That's the first time I've heard anything.
Yeah.
The existing house to the east is very close to that. It may be closer than 20 feet away.
Yeah, I think I measured it on the map. I think it's like shade under
It's like 10,
Yeah,
I think. Yeah, it's very close.
I think Andrew's point was pretty relevant on that because I think they're going to have more screening than they do right now.
Well, if it were the homeowner, I would have sort of tried to have more of a conversation, but you're not going to try to convince an attorney to back off of the position of representing what their clients want. So I guess I was just sort of clarifying a little bit, but if I were that homeowner, I would see this as an improvement. All of the activity associated with this business, which sounds like the real issue, is getting shifted back and over and buffered. And you're getting a new single family residence traffic introduced to where you did have all this other traffic prior. I can't, and that driveway isn't any closer to the property line than allowed by code. So as much as I'm sympathetic to whatever they feel like they're putting up with now, it feels like this is going to get better, but you can't persuade an attorney to back off their position. So.
And I think we said for the record, there's no other place to really put that driveway. And as Andrew just said, that driveway already exists. We're cleaning it up and we're going to put buffering more.
You're taking 3/4 of the traffic off of that driveway.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
actually.
I agree.
I was more skeptical of the flag lot. I had missed the email prior that showed the survey with all of the highlighted flag lots, which are already setting precedent, in part because it's such a high percentage variance from the lot frontage requirement that it seems like we would be setting precedent, except it's already set for this area. So I was more skeptical coming in. I still feel like the Board of Trustees might want to take up sort of what the rules, the do's and don'ts of flag lots and where they are appropriate and whether there's chunk of the code that gets written for that. If you need a certain percentage, if the block that doesn't have road access needs to be a certain size before it becomes appropriate. I don't know how you would write that, but it seems more appropriate to say yes and then send along that recommendation than to say no at this point after having seen all those other precedents. That's where I am.
Well, considering that the 3 lots touching this, three of the lots have the same exact configuration, I think that mitigates although it's a substantial variance in 80%, I think it's mitigated by the fact that there's existing at least 3 lots touching it and another 9 properties within, she said, a half a mile of this. So
May I ask, is there a history of those getting a variance or are they grandfathered or?
Most of them get variances. We run into problems where I can give you the best example I can think of is the very narrow, it's actually a small private road along where Hawkins Webb Jaeger is sort of the beginning, and it winds up parallel to East Broadway, and sort of the road exits close to the top of East Broadway, just shy of Cliff Road. And that's a private road that has all of the sort of maintenance problems, emergency access problems, guests parking. And I think in the past, this particular parcel, I think I mentioned, had a number of sketch plans that showed, parallel driveways that went back to 2 or 3 lots even. And immediately, that was pretty, unless you can put a proper road that may or may not be dedicated to the village, that usually is a recipe for future problems. I have thought, Andrew, to your point about, how do you write flag lots into code, because they're so property specific, and depending on topography, what is it a big arterial road that it comes out onto? Is it a small road? And so it's a good challenge.
I know there's municipalities out east that have code for flag lots. I don't know the specifics of it, but by giving it a different category, that takes it out of the realm of getting a variance of 75%, or even more. I mean, you could someone could be asking for an 80-90% variance on a lot frontage, because it's not actually the lot frontage, it's just an access road.
Right.
And so it feels like the wrong metric to be using is all. But it makes me think that it's totally appropriate in a place where you have plenty of property, but that's where you have a block that's so large that you essentially don't have enough public roads to it. And maybe that's the way to sort of back the code in. I know there's some places that don't allow them at all. There's some places that allow them, but then you end up in a separate section of code that governs.
I understand what you guys are going into, but that's that's above our pay grade. That's above our pay grade for this board. So that's where mine's greater than ours. That being said, Lisa, question for you. Can the board, as a condition of the approval, put any, recommendations that the existing fence either be, remain, because I believe that's the owner's, Mr. Watts's fence, so that the fence remain and additional, and at least the existing buffer, which is the Norway maples, remain as part of the approval of this?
I believe you can condition approval on continued screening of the driveway. I don't know if it's better to leave that to the planning board to do in their. The
only reason I say is because the owner of the property, who's very close to that, I just don't want them to someone come in one day and take all those Norway maples down, which are not always the most appealing because they tend to peel up driveways and they're so shallow rooted, they end up ripping up driveways. And then if he sells the property, someone else comes in and takes them all down because they're destroying their driveway, which is known to happen with those.
They're also non-native and grow like weeds, so it's not,
Yeah, I mean, the longer term issue is likely that, they'll have an end to their lifespan, most likely. So they will eventually be removed, and the question is what will be maintained in that space.
Well, I think we can just say that the buffer remain in one form or another. Right now we have the Norway maples, but like you said, as they die off, something else a buffer should remain, and that, natural or not.
Yeah, I think in this case, it may be best to let the planning board address the conditions of the subdivision. I not only do it, I think it's also just the best place to get the
Okay.
enforcement of it. They can even, just
And
because of the mechanisms that they have for putting that in place.
and Jen, since you're here, you'll relay that to the planning board on our behalf?
Yep. I
All
wrote
right.
it down already. Yep.
Real quick, unless anybody else has any questions or comments, I'm just gonna do some of the, again, housekeeping issues. Secra is the type 2 variance under Secra. So I just want to confirm.
Yes.
Type 2 action, and just to walk through the conditions real quick, whether an undesirable change would be produced in the character of the neighborhood, I think we can all agree that the answer to that is no, especially when the 3 lots touching this are existing flag lots, almost exactly the same size, everything's represented the same. Whether the benefits sought can be achieved by some other is more feasible. I think we also determined that the only place to put the driveway is where it is now based on the existing location of the house. Also, the condition of nonconformance for the side yard setbacks is created by the fact that they need the driveway to access the rear of the property. Whether the request is substantial, I think numerically, the side yard is 13.8, which I think we could say is not great. And it's also going to, even though it's going up against the property in the back, you still have that width of the driveway there. So even on the one side that you're losing the 10 feet.
Well, if I understand correctly, the variance is for the combined side yard, which
Combined
is
side yard, right, but-
34 something over 40. So that's a
13.8, it looks like.
No, it's
and
sorry, go ahead.
According to the report, it's a 13.8% relief from the 40.
Thank you. Very good. I thought you were referring to what dimension 13.8. My bad.
No. And you still have that same driveway there. It's just attached to another property. We're not building anything. There's no domicile going there. It's going to be an existing driveway. As far as the 20 feet, we'll say, yes, it is substantial, but it's typical with this. And again, there are a number of flag lots in this neighborhood. Whether the proposed variance will have any adverse physical or environmental conditions, those will all be mitigated through the permit process, through the health department, and through the planning board. And there's none that we can see here. And they're also giving you a 150-foot setback of natural buffer to remain. So I think environmentally, you're being responsible. And whether the alleged difficulty was self-created, yeah, he's creating a flag, to subdivide the property. It's, that's what's happened. So it is self-created, but again, it's not a detriment. Any comments or questions from the board on this? Going once, going twice. As the chairman, I'll make a motion that we approve both variances. First variance being 34.48 combined side yard setback where 40 is required. And the second being 20-foot frontage where 100 foot is required. Lisa, should we do them separately or can we do them as one package? Subdivision.
Why don't we do them separately just so we can record it?
Okay. I'll make a motion that we approve the 34.48 combined side yard setback where 40 is required. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, Tracy seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? None? Okay. The second, 20-foot street frontage where 100 is required. Make a motion that we approve that. Do I have a second?
Second.
Tracy seconded. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you, boys and girls. I appreciate everyone's attendance tonight. Anybody have any other questions, comments? Seeing none, I'm going to say good night to everyone.
Thank you.
Enjoy. I hope everyone stays
Nice
safe.
to see you guys.
Yes.
I never see you.
Thank you.